Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be doing a mod review. It's been a while, but a fun new mod dropped on the workshop, I believe yesterday. This is Bertrand the Brigand, Thieves' Honor, a brand new faction mod which is going to take you to very classic Bretonnia from back in the day. So far back that people seem to forget that we had our own version of a Robin Hood, you know, a Warhammer-fied version, so it's not always the kind of like good guy aspects. But yeah, it's a brand new faction. It's got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Let's talk about the faction effects and lord effects. Start off with the faction effects. Thieves, Honor, and Heroism replaces Chivalry, giving bonuses on unlocking units and heroes. Peasant economy, plus 5 peasants available to the faction. You're going to be using a lot of peasants here. Income from farms, minus 25% for faction-wide. Income from industry, minus 25% faction-wide. Income from post-battle loot, plus 25% from faction-wide, all armies obviously. Income from raiding, plus 25% for all armies. Melee defense, plus 5 for peasant mobs and peasant bowman units, all armies. And for the lord effects, we have unlocks legendary hero Hugo Le Petit, Guy Le Gros. These are 2 legendary heroes that you'll have from the start of your campaign. Upkeep, minus 25% for all Hairy Malt units in the Lord's army. And finally, plus 10 missile strength for Brigand and Hairy Malt units in Lord's army. As you can see, there's quite a lot of effects here because you're not going to be playing a traditional Bretonian campaign. Just a quick note before we begin, the monthly giveaway has restarted, so if that's something that you want to get into, you can find a link in the description below, which is win a game of your choice. Anything that you want, you don't even have to make a purchase. Not sponsored here, it's just, I know you guys are interested, but the link has changed, so yeah. Okay, so your campaign is going to begin in Artois, but keep in mind that you've got multiple options here. You don't have to play in the Immortal Empires. You've also got campaigns in the Old World and Immortal Empires Expanded, which is kind of fun. It's always great to have a little bit of variety there. You're going to kind of have a lot of movement going on here. You can stay here, you can move around. You'll start off as a horde, but you're not always going to be a horde faction. This is the benefit of this faction. You can kind of just do your own thing. But before we get into all the details regarding just hordes and so on, let's talk about honor and heroism. This is going to replace your chivalry. There's 2 different bars that you're going to be working with, and as you progress with them, you're going to get some bonuses, you're going to get some negatives, you're going to get access to different troops, even some knights, or even getting just some pretty good mercenary type troopers. The idea here is allowing you to expand into what you prefer. You can kind of go both ways to get the bonuses, but it's going to be kind of, you know, balancing as far as I've seen. It could have just been how I play, because I play fairly aggressively and I was trying to build up a dukedom. But you're definitely going to get replayability out of this, which is pretty damn good. I've been playing for a few hours now. It's kind of fun. The idea here is just getting a bit of a different side of Bretonnia. Very old school lore. I think that's kind of important because even in the old world, it's kind of exploring that with the Disgraced Knights, but not just how everyone wants it. Now, you've been able to see that technology follows the same format as before. The only thing different is that the stuff with Confederation for the other dukedoms, it's not there. You're going to be focused on building your horde, getting some other bonuses for your troopers. You're going to be using a lot of ambushes here, which I think is quite important. And I've just realized that my mouse is off-center because when I stream, I have to reduce the quality, and that kind of affects that here. Just ignore the mouse. It's still showcasing everything. Sadly, I can't re-record because I am on a bit of a schedule. It's a bit annoying as I am building up my Bretonnia showcase. Now, your lord is a horde, but you do get to be able to build up. All of your generic lords, as far as I've seen, are also counted as hordes, meaning that you will have some very good mobile armies, but keep in mind that you do need to do some stuff, like for example, get some technology up and running to be able to afford other armies. All the buildings are pretty much covered there, so you've got a lot to work around with. You've got a pretty good roster of loads of new units, so the idea there is just mostly focusing around skirmishers. It's going to be very, very different to what you're normally used to if you like playing Bretonnia a lot. But it'll make sense when you start looking at the legendary lords and legendary heroes. They're very much bandits. It's the whole Robin Hood theme. So the legendary lord himself is focused very heavily about increasing the range and armor-piercing damage of your ranged troopers, building up your peasants, making them quite viable, which I like. It's very, very different. It takes me back to a simpler time. Funny enough, I just recently found these models a while back. back, and they are currently sitting in a Dettol bath, as I kind of want to use them for that Bretonnia showcase if I have enough time. You do get access to knights, and he can reduce the upkeep for them. It's its own system, very similar to that of the virtues, but it's in its own skill line rather than a virtue quest system. Now you'll start off with 2 legendary heroes right from the start of your campaign, the first one being Hugo Le Petit, which is a ranged melee hybrid. You can kind of work around his skills just to make him stronger, get increased physical resistance for your army and fall steel yourself also. He's pretty damn strong. Think of him like a ranged, unmounted version of Henry Le Massif, which are only available to Bertrand. I do believe there's some other submods that you can get to kind of change that around, but I think it works well because they're so drastically different to the normal knights that you'd normally get. I like him. I think he's quite strong, and he can hold himself off against the Chaos Lord, which I had a bunch. Bellacore just came down, as per usual. And your second lad is also Guy Legros. I have probably butchered his name, but he is your Friar, right? Friar Tuck. He's going to be boasting a lot of battle prayers. Think of him like a healer, but also warrior priest. It does mean the faction's going to be pretty strong at the beginning, but you're still dealing with a lot of problems. You're going to be fighting against the other Bretonnians. You're going to have so many factions cycle charging you, and there's a bunch of undead factions slapping you from multiple angles. Heinrich can be a bit of a problem, especially in the early game, since he can spawn up quite a lot of zombie stacks. Since most of your men are bandits, you are able to upgrade them too, which is kind of cool. You do have the upgrade system. It's not all of your units, keep that in mind. Your peasant mobs and your peasant archers will then expand from there. There are a lot of different types of units, which is really, really nice to see. The idea here is making sure that your peasants are viable throughout your campaign, because you're mostly going to be working around those. I like it. I think it's pretty cool for something like this, because keep in mind that these lads will mostly be traveling around. You don't have to stay there. You can actually just keep as a horde faction as far as I'm aware and help out the other factions. So your merry band of men will be getting more equipment and more battle experience as time progresses. I like it. It's cool. Now, if you don't like the horde style of gameplay, like I said, you can easily just take Castle Artois or whatever and just start building. That's the great thing about this. You've got the option. The idea there is, yeah, you can pick up some knights, you can do some damage over there. I started playing and I went into the Empire and started building up my own dukedom there. Kind of like the whole disgraced knight type of situation, but more than viable to just take one of the Bretonnian territories. Keep in mind that, yeah, the Bretonnians will see you as a little bit of a threat. You aren't really the most liked guy in that location. Then, once you start building up, you'll get access to knights and all the other type of stuff. But in most cases, you're just going to be focusing around all the brigands. You're going to be doing the damage that you can over there. I like this system. The element of choice is oddly cool. It's kind of what I was expecting for the Warriors of Chaos. Like, you can have the Dark Fortresses, but then you can also build up hordes. Does that make sense? And remember, you will take negatives if you decide to start fighting the other Bretonnians. I mean, in most cases you will, because there's no confederation mechanic here, but hey, yeah, sometimes you have to put that risk out. Become the enemy of the dukedoms. Dilemmas will pop up every now and then specific to your faction, which will give you access to heroes, generalized buffs, some heroism, some honor, some treasury, but also losing honor. The great thing about this is when you get your heroes, it will also increase the capacity, which very, very useful. Sometimes you'll get a damsel, sometimes you get a friar. There's a few, and we'll talk about some of them a little bit later on in the video. But before anything, we do have to talk about the Lord option. So is the Crownless Lord. This one's a pretty interesting one, because from what I've seen is the Lord options, the new ones for this mod, have access to different weapon types. So you've got one with great weapons, and then you've also got the bow one. Depending on what you need, if you prefer melee Lord, that's better for you. If you want the bow one, you can go for that. It just means that your 2 new Lord options are technically 4, as you've got the variety there. It's something that I like. This is very different. Weapon options is something I'd like to see in the future, but that's more like a vanilla thing. I feel like characters should have weapon choices and options and skill lines, kind of similar to the mounts, but that's more of a vanilla thing than it is for the mod. The interpretation here works pretty well. The other option is a Outlaw Chief, so this one's range focused, but you can also have them with halberds, so you've got an anti-large Lord there, which is very, very good. These guys are hordes also, keep that in mind, so you're able to build up and get your troops moving around.
Not a lot of skills there. I mean, you can have them with a small gun and stuff, but I like the halberd unit more. He's shielded too, so he's just very, very good at dealing with the Chaos Lords that you're going to be dealing with. Be'lakor just comes down to Bretonnia so often that if you don't have him, you're going to find yourself kind of lacking there. Both options work very well. The horses, in most cases, you're just going to be dealing with horse mounts. So you're not really going to be using Pegasus riders and stuff like that. It's going to be a bit weird to get used to, but I feel like it's one of those challenges, right? Playing Bretonnia in a completely different way. Now, you do have a bunch of heroes, with a few being very similar to your Lord options and also your hero options, your legendary ones. The Friar is basically just Grey Legros, just with its own styling. One thing I do like here about the heroes is that they have locked skills. So there's multiple ways to build these up. Incentivizing you and getting multiple friars, it's pretty damn interesting. It's kind of like the Mark stuff for Chaos. So they're very similar, but very different at the same time. The same thing goes with the other hero choice, which is the Faceless. This is going to be very much like your Faceless Lord. You've got some options. Stuff locks in. So you can have multiple ones in different armies being very, very different. The Faceless themselves, you can make them either really good at shooting or being very good at sniping, or just make them better at melee. That stuff is pretty cool. I like the idea of having a shooty boy one that just shoots more projectiles, and a sniper one to take out some characters from a long distance. Now, you are using Brigands, which does mean that you are kind of limited in terms of your weapon choices, but you do have a lot of different units with Vanguard, for example, a lot of different ones with range. This is going to be anti-Bretonnia, so a lot of shooty boys. You've even got access to blunderbusses, which I believe were last used around, what, 5th edition? Before the big overhaul for Bretonnia? So that's kind of nice to see. You do have some anti-infantry units, which are very good at melee. You even have some disgraced knights on foot, which I think, again, very, very cool. It's good to see some foot knights, because I very much doubt that we're going to get them officially at any point. It kind of sucks, doesn't it? Some good skirmishing cavalry. Everything here works pretty well, and pretty much everything here, I believe, can be upgraded from the generic peasants and the generic peasant bowmen. It's a difficult roster in a sense. Like, you don't have a lot of heavy armor. Your range is good, but it's not that good. It's definitely going to be a bit of more of a challenge than most, but I feel like you've got everything there. You've got some anti-large, you've got some anti-armor, you've got some anti-infantry. You've got a lot of bows, you have skirmish shooters, you have riders that can move around fairly quickly, some great weapons there too. It's very well-rounded, while still not being the best type of units, which fits. These brigands are not going to be wearing the best armor, they're not going to have the best equipment available to them. I like this. I really, really do like this. You can tell that it was very much inspired from earlier editions of Bretonnian lore, which, you know, is slowly fading away as we start pushing into the old world and stuff getting rewritten, restyled, and retooled. And don't you worry, you do have a bunch of Lord and Hero options again to kind of boost these guys up to have just a generalized fighting force. You're supposed to be the guys living in the forests. You can build up a dukedom, but if you're going to be hiding around, this is the type of troops that you're going to be bringing out into the table. Be ready, though, if you decide to piss off the Wood Elves. They will hurt you from their distance, or the Beastmen will try to ambush you, but you've got the distance there too. You can keep as far back as you can, or you can go up front and personal and just destroy enemies with a hail of arrows. The mod itself is pretty damn cool. I must say, this is pretty interesting. If I wasn't doing my current system where I'm trying to do all the achievements, I might be streaming this at some point, because goddamn, this is really, really, really cool. I will have it linked in the description below. I think that this is a nice trip down memory lane more than anything else. I think that's why I'm so keen on it. It's taking me to that point of, yeah, this is from old Bretonnia, very old, forgotten Bretonnia. Now, this is going to be a battle versus a randomly generated Beastman army. I focus mostly on just the units that you can pick up from the mod itself. And yeah, I'm going to struggle a little bit, I'm going to tell you. I'm trying to be up close and personal, but the Beastmen do hit me very, very hard. My units are fairly squishy. The idea here is being a skirmisher, but I guess all my recent playthroughs with Khorne have made me more into an aggressive faction player, which is not ideal with these lads. They are dying. They will not be having the sanctity of the Friar, also, as he cannot vanguard when in custom battles. So he has to run up whilst everyone else is going forward. But let me know what you guys think about this mod in the comments below. And again, the mod will be linked in the description below. Have a great day, everyone. I'll let the rest of the battle play out in case you're interested to see how they perform. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. I've got to run back and paint some more minis because I have 18 days left to finish off about 140 Bretonnians. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting day. But that video will come out very soon, this month. You guys will finally start to see some of the collection. See you guys.
What orders? Arrows ready! Right hand! Ready for battle! Come on, lads! Withdraw! Shift it! Die, fiends! Withdraw! We obey! Leg it! Run them through! Aye! Doing our duty! Withdraw! Mounts ready! Get them moving! You honor us! Bows, aye! We serve the king! Let these lands! Orders? Spurs, lads! Stay put! Make them proud! Run! Send them back to their hells! Ready for orders! We are ready! Spurs, lads! Weapons drawn! Fight the wind! Armed and ready! Ride! Ready for battle! Mounts ready! What orders? Bretonnians, attack! Get 'em! We serve our lead! Battle ready! Clear out! Infantry! Bowman, aye! A death bow on them! Fighters! 'Tis done! Ready for battle! Stick him good! Man of Bretonnia! Fighters! As you say, die, fiends! Orders, my lord! Ready to fire! Right hard! Spurs, lads! Bows, aye! Fight! Kill! Our lives depend on it! Men of Bretonnia! Fighters! Ready for orders?